We've already given, I believe the number is 50,000 pages. 50,000 pages. And it's just a Russia hoax as it pertains to the Republicans. What I just don't want Epstein to do is detract from the great success of the Republican Party.
President Trump yesterday saying that they have already released 50,000 Epstein pages. And I don't think that the news media has looked at them. They just do the word search for Trump. And that's it. The New York Times with the headline, Trump has the power to release the Epstein files. Why doesn't he? They never had the headline, Biden has the power to release the Epstein files. Why hasn't he? They never asked why the Democrats voted 14 or 15 times to keep the government shut down, because they're Democrat Party front groups. KCRA with, quote, I'm all for it, end quote. President Trump encourages Republicans to release Epstein case files. Now, I got to tell you, the Democrats are a part of this, too. You know, their vote, they'll obstruct. They've been obstructing. I don't know if you noticed. The government shutdown was all driven by the Democrats. The Republicans voted every time to reopen the government, except for Rand Paul. But if just a few Democrats had voted to open the government, we could have opened the government on day one. It never would have shut down at all. It didn't have to shut down. The Democrats shut it down in the Senate. The Republicans in the House passed that bill, moved it over to the Senate. Every Democrat in the House voted against it because they're corrupt. They're mostly criminals. You know how they are. Isn't that amazing? But I want to share with you some audio that we have collected for you because it helps to tell the tale, doesn't it? Also, the President of the United States meeting today with the corrupt Saudi crown prince, Mohammed bin Salman, MBS, as they call him, Mohammed bin Salman. And he is the crown prince. He's running the country as a de facto king of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. In any case, meeting at the White House with President Trump today. And the headline in the Washington Times, Saudi pariah becomes honored guests. Well, you know, it's the Arab world. The president, the liberal on my TV show on Newsmax last night complained, oh, yeah, Trump doesn't care about you. He had a terrorist as an honored guest at the White House last week. And I was forced to say, oh, you mean the president of Syria? Is that who you're talking about, the president of Syria? The guy is a former al-Qaeda member, presumably former. The president of Syria was at the White House. And then Democrats say, oh, sure, you're hosting a terrorist. He's a world leader. It's the Arab world. You know, maybe you should learn something before you start talking. Trump aims for Israel breakthrough, legacy-defining deal with Crown Prince. He wants to get Saudi Arabia. They are the custodians of the two holy mosques, you know, at Mecca and Medina, the holiest sites in Islam. And it's kind of a big deal in Islam. And if they cut a deal recognizing the existence of Israel as a legitimate state, it would be huge, huge. What are there, 57 Muslim states? Is that 57? Or is that Heinz ketchup? I sometimes confuse the two. I think 57 Muslim states. Mohammed bin Salman, MBS, at the White House today, kind of a big deal, And also the front page of the Washington Times, above the fold, House set for vote on unsealing Epstein files. Trump nods, calls Democrats bluff. And it's Susan Ferriccio, a wonderful news reporter, Susan Ferriccio. I got to tell you, it's good. And they got Stephen Dinan on the front page here, another great reporter, the Washington Times, wonderful newspaper. So we've got that going too. But let's go to some audio of all this great. And then I want to get to Trump derangement syndrome and the Democrat Party, which is afflicted with Trump derangement syndrome. And, of course, they're all transgender now, aren't they? All right, but let's go. We played the soundbite of President Trump saying we've already released 50,000 pages on Epstein. All right, 50,000 pages. Now, what have we seen about those 50,000 pages of Epstein documents? We've seen almost nothing. We saw the Democrats in the House Oversight Committee gave heavily redacted pages of 2 or 3 different emails to the New York Times, and all the redactions. There was, I think, the longest sentence was 4 words, and it was excised from the middle of a sentence, designed to corruptly mischaracterize what's going on. And again, Trump says he would sign bill to release Epstein files if Congress passes it. Now, watch the Democrats obstruct it in the House or in the Senate, because it's what they do. The president also said he would be open to launching strikes on Mexico over drug trafficking. That's the NBC News story. And this is a 2-part headline. Trump says he would sign a bill to release Epstein files if Congress passes it. And then let's attack him on Mexico, on something completely unrelated, because that's what they do. Isn't that amazing? So President Trump says he will sign the bill, says already released 50,000 pages of Epstein documents, and we've heard very little about those because they must all be about Democrats. That's the only conclusion you can come to. Now, the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, I was talking about his press conference earlier, and he laid out some of the issues that he's got with releasing all the documents that are illegal and matters of decency, identifying the women that were targeted. And we also have a woman that spoke on Capitol Hill today who was 14 years old when she was targeted by Epstein and presumably Giselle. And now she has a 14-year-old daughter herself because she's a grown woman now, and I want to get to her as well. But let's go to the Speaker first. Let's go to soundbite number 18. Number 18. The Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, on Capitol Hill press conference today.
With so many pressing issues on our plate, just very frustratingly to us, the Democrats are delaying that work even further with a political show vote. They're forcing a political show vote on the Epstein files.
Posting a political show vote, like a show trial, Soviet style, and the Democrats are forcing the Congress to have these. Why can't you just release them? No, we need to have a vote, and let's get the Democrats on the record because they may very well vote to bury these, just like they voted again and again and again to shut the government down during the government shutdown. Honestly, and now we played the audio earlier of Chuck Schumer being asked, why didn't you release the documents during the 4 years of Joe Biden's presidency when the Democrats were in control of the House and the Senate? Speaker Johnson this morning, kind of along the same line.
Now, seemingly overnight, these same cast of characters, they've taken a sudden and urgent interest in the Epstein investigation. Suddenly, it's all in the name of transparency. That's what they're trying to tell us. But the truth is, the biggest proponents of this discharge petition were never actually interested in transparency or ensuring justice or protecting victims of this unspeakable tragedy, the Epstein evils. And how do we know that? Because the Democrats had every one of the Epstein files in their possession for the 4 long years of the Biden administration. The Biden Department of Justice had the files the entire time. And not a single one of the people who are so loud and animated right now, they never said anything about it for all those 4 years.
Good for the Speaker of the House. That was well said. He speaks well. That makes me happy, unlike certain other Republican speakers who never spoke well at all. And I got to say, pointing this out, the Democrats and the Biden Department of Justice had every one of these documents for 4 years. You didn't hear a peep out of these people. Not a peep. Not a thing. That's how you'd always say, like your grandmother rushing up. I don't want to hear a peep out of you. Oh, you're making noise at night. Didn't hear a peep. And transparency. I was taking notes on what he said, and I hyphenated trans-parency, because I know everything with them is trans, and it's not parency, but these people. So it's true, for 4 years, the Democrats and Biden had all these documents, and not a peep out of these people. And now they think they can lynch Trump with it and leave him dead hanging from a tree, which is a Democrat Party tradition, usually involving black people. you know, the Democrat Party and their history. But the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, this morning.
None of them held press conferences. None of them demanded the release of the documents. And under Biden's DOJ, when they prosecuted just Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, not a single one of these Democrats or any of the proponents of the discharge ever made any noise about that at all. So it's fair for the American people to ask the question, why now? Why suddenly are they so interested? They have such an urgent interest in the Jeffrey Epstein matter. The truth is simple and straightforward and obvious for anyone who is willing to look at it objectively. Clearly, this is a political exercise for Democrats and a few others, sadly, and it is as deceitful and dishonest as their pointless stunt to shut down the government.
See, I got to tell you, he's pretty good at this. And he should have thrown in TDS because Trump derangement syndrome is a big part of this. The Speaker of the House, anyway, he does get into it a little bit, and here he is touching on that now.
And in a desperate attempt, they're trying to somehow tie President Trump to the scandal. President Trump has nothing to do with it. He has said himself he has nothing to hide. And that's clearly what they've been trying to do. They're trying to attack President Trump. This is what they've done. They weaponized the justice system over the last several years to go after him, and this is their latest attempt. And they don't have a platform or a principle to defend on the Democrat Party side, so they put all their eggs in this basket. And that's why you hear endlessly about Epstein, Epstein, Epstein. Everything's about Epstein.
Put all their eggs in this basket. Reminds me of a really bad old joke about Basques. You don't put all your Basques in this exit. But the joke's not very good, and I don't want to spend time on it now. But as a Basque American, you know, don't put all your Basques in that exit. Now, there was a woman at the press conference on Capitol Hill today, part of the Democrat Party's show trial, a media show trial. A woman allegedly named Wendy Avis. Wendy Avis says that she was one of the victims of the Jeffrey Epstein sex scandal. And now she has a 14-year-old daughter herself. She was 14 years old when she was dragged into it. Now a grown woman with a 14-year-old daughter herself, Wendy Avis.
I was 14 when I met Jeffrey Epstein. I have a 14-year-old daughter myself, the same age I was. And when I look at her, I see the little girl I used to be, the one that no one protected. My greatest fear in this entire world is history repeating itself. And I will do anything, absolutely anything, to make sure that she has to never be one of these girls standing in front of a crowd like this today.
Well, I would think so. I mean, we had one of our brilliant callers, there was Anthony from Chicago, saying, what is going on with the parents of these women? And are any of the parents still out there, of any of them? And honestly, why not on 60 Minutes? Why not on the Today Show? Why not on The View? You know, they're all left-wing things. And here's a woman who has a 14-year-old daughter, says she was drawn into the Epstein web when she was 14 years old herself. I would think that she is uniquely qualified to keep her daughter safe from such things. I would certainly hope so. And she sounds like she's dealing with anxiety and so on, just the cracking of her voice. And she's got a 14-year-old daughter herself. And how did this happen? And if I were there as a reporter, I might ask her the parent question. Well, when you were 14, where were your parents? Were your parents associated with Jeffrey Epstein in any way, affiliated with Jeffrey Epstein in any way? How did you find your way as a 14-year-old girl into this creepy web? And where were the adults around you that should have been protecting you from this, as you are doubtless protecting your 14-year-old daughter today? You know, these are relevant questions in the scheme of things. Yes, they are. There's more. Oh, and I got TDS coming up, too, Trump derangement syndrome coming up, and transgender Democrats coming up. Cooking on Thanksgiving coming up pretty quick is high-stakes stuff. Feels like one dried-out turkey can ruin it all, and that's because it could ruin it all. That's why I love my Chef IQ Sense. Let's face it, my best girl uses it much better than I do. This wireless, and she does too, this wireless cooking thermometer takes the guesswork out of holiday cooking. The USDA says that your turkey on Thanksgiving has got to hit 165 degrees Fahrenheit in order to be safe, if you like a safe turkey. Your eyes can deceive, of course, but the Chef IQ Sense, it ensures that you hit that perfect temperature every time, and it couldn't be easier to use. You just insert the sensor into your turkey, whatever you're cooking, tell the app what it is that you're cooking, and then sit back and relax. Because Chef IQ Sense tells you when to flip, when to turn, when to take it off the heat, even how long to let it sit and rest before you start carving on the counter. No more oven peaking, no more dried out turkey, just perfectly cooked meals every time. And listen, it works for everything. It works for your steaks, your chicken, your fish, whatever it is that you like to cook all year long. You're going to wonder how you ever cooked without it. Plus, it's the ultimate gift. It really is. Perfect for seasoned chefs, for kitchen rookies, and for everyone in between. Right now, you're going to get 30% off the entire website with the code PLANT at chefiq.com. You can thank me later. That's chefiq.com. The promo code is PLANTE. Yes, sir. Oh, yeah, I've got more amazing audio coming up. Trannies and schools and Democrats, very dangerous. Maybe this lady, Wendy Avis, should be concerned about what's going on in schools now. We've still got a lot to get to, including Trump derangement syndrome and transgender Democrats in schools, because they're really funky. In the meantime, let us go to the telephones. Let's go to Art, calling from Edgewater, Maryland. Arthur, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Hey, Chris, how are you today?
Very well, Art. What do you say?
Hey, my best girl and I were with your best girl and you in Iceland this past summer. Had a great time.
Very nice. Excellent. It was a great trip, wasn't it?
I still wear my secret society pin on my lapel.
That is excellent. We have the secret magnetic Chris Plant Show pin, so we can pick each other out on the ship. That is great stuff. Yeah, Iceland was great. It was great. It was the most beautiful ship ever, wasn't it?
It really was. Really was.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I guess I get some weird looks in the grocery store, but I still wear it. That's okay.
Well, that's good. That's good. I like that. I appreciate that. I'll buy you a beer next time I see you for dealing with the hardship.
That sounds good. Sounds good. I just wanted to comment real quick. You'll be familiar from the Cold War days, the mutually assured destruction concept with us in the Soviet Union never launching nukes.
Sure. Heck yeah.
So I think the reason neither side has ever released the Epstein stuff is mutually assured destruction. But now their TDS is totally taken over, and they're willing to throw Clinton and the other Democrats under the bus just to get Trump.
You know, I think that makes perfect sense. That it's like a human sacrifice, a suicide death cult like Jonestown, which is pretty much where the Democrat Party is. And you know, who knows? Maybe they developed the ability to destroy selected documents. Now we were just talking about TDS and all that good stuff, because it's everywhere. It's everywhere. And then gender, because in Michigan, the schools are they all going fully transgender? Is that what it is? They're all. I got my degree in cross-dressing. The University of Michigan. All right, before we do, let's take another phone call. A nice person has been waiting on hold very patiently for a long, long time. Let's go to Joe, calling from the great state of Arkansas. Joseph, you are on the Chris Plant Show.
Well, thank you, sir, for taking my call. I love it.
Thanks for hanging in there, buddy.
Shoot, I almost forgot what my point was. Oh, yeah, you said you asked why Schumer wouldn't answer that question directly, and my theory is he didn't want to because he knew what was in it, and he was protecting the Democrats in there. And also, he knew there wasn't anything really bad about Trump. And if it's not released, they can still lie about it, and the truth can't be exposed. And the last thing I wanted to make was I think Trump was kind of playing them because now it's got to where they're going to have to vote on whether they want to expose it or not and be exposed to their own hypocrisy. Does that make sense to you?
Very much so. Very much. Yeah, you bet, Joe. Getting the Democrats on the record, I said a little earlier, but when it gets over to the Senate, the Democrats can obstruct this and make sure the bill doesn't pass. And it'd be almost hilarious if they did. It would probably be appropriate. And one of our last brilliant callers was talking about the Cold War construct of mutual assured destruction, and it's true. The Democrats have been they are on a suicide mission. They are. I keep flashing back to Jonestown in Guyana, and the Reverend Jim Jones and the mass suicide down there, and the Democrat Party is self-immolating. At least 8 or 9 Democrats have self-immolated in the last couple of years, and they're committing suicide attacks on Donald Trump and on Steve Scalise and on, suicide attacks. But you're right, Schumer didn't, and the soundbite that we played, Michael, of Schumer not answering the question was particularly odious, I thought. And right. Joe, hang on. Sorry, you go ahead, Joe.
Oh, I was going to say, Michael, the Speaker of the House, Johnson, he said it right, too, that Trump just kind of called their bluff on it, because all my social media friends have been trashing Trump about he had something to hide, let's expose it. And he finally said, okay, let's do it. Now it looks like they don't really want to, which is kind of, what's that Russian playbook you keep saying? They accuse us of doing the stuff they're doing.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, and that was an Obama administration State Department official testifying on Capitol Hill. And it was Victoria Nuland, of course, Vicki Nuland. It was Victoria Nuland. And she was testifying on Capitol Hill under oath when she revealed what the Democrat playbook is. And when she says Russian, she really means the Soviet playbook.
It is classic Russian technique to blame on the other guy what they're planning to do themselves.
Yep, there it is, Joe, just for you. And the Chuck Schumer, because this is Chuck Schumer. Just listen to how creepy this guy is. If this person were at your dinner table, you wouldn't let him get away with this.
Senator, on that note, just I guess a question that's out there, why wouldn't they have been released the last 4 years when President Biden was in office?
Well, that's the question every American is asking. Not every American, but so many Americans are asking. What the hell is he hiding?
Now, what the hell are you hiding? I think if I had been the reporter there, Joe, I would have said, excuse me, Senator, but with all due respect, keyword due, what the hell are you hiding? Because you just changed the subject. You didn't respond to the question at all. You just turned it into Trump derangement syndrome moment because you're all mentally ill, and I have a follow-up. I think that'd be how I'd frame the question if I were the reporter there.
One more point. I just remembered that he's trying to make Trump release it now, because then they can say Trump did it for retaliation. because there's a lot of negative in there, I'm certain, about Democrats and Democrat supporters. But if Trump releases it, then they can always say, well, you're just retaliating against us.
Right. It's revenge. It's vengeance. He's targeting us by releasing the Epstein documents. You are so right. And I hadn't gotten there myself, Joe, but you're right. You release them, they'll be full of Democrats, and then the Democrats and the media, but I repeat myself, will claim that this is just revenge. He's abusing the position of president and the Justice Department to make the Democrats look bad by releasing the Epstein documents. And you're so right. It's what they do. They flip-flop. They're not exactly intellectually consistent, are they, Joe?
No. And I think the Democrat voters have played in Trump's hand. And I think he just played them both, by acting like he didn't want to release it, but then now he does. And, it's kind of funny, actually.
Kind of funny. Yep. Well, you're a good man, Joe. You're paying attention. You're an American. And that's a great thing to be.
I listen to your show almost every day. I drive a bus up here in Springdale and kind of listen to it and listen between the bus routes and stuff. So
that is great. That makes me very happy. Thank you, Joe. I hope you get a laugh here and there too.
Pardon me?
I hope you get a laugh every now and then too.
Oh, I do.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Thanks, buddy. Because I got some new. I got the TDS coming right up. And Joe, thank you for the call. and keep being a great American. Let's go, because I played. Well, I didn't play any audio because we didn't have any audio. But thanks, Joe. On Friday, I did this. I read an article that was in the Wall Street Journal, and it was written by a psychotherapist by the name of Jonathan Alpert. Jonathan Alpert. And Jonathan Alpert is a psychoanalyst, and he wrote an article he has patients, and he sits down with patients and helps them navigate their way through issues that they're having, psychological and so on. But he's a psychotherapist, Jonathan Alpert, and he wrote the piece in the Wall Street Journal. The headline was, "Is Trump derangement syndrome real?" And it says here on the internet that was 6 days ago. Right? And it was a great piece, and I read maybe not every sentence, but almost every sentence in the Wall Street Journal piece, shared it with you on Friday. Now, Jonathan Alpert went on to do an interview on television on the Fox News channel, and he is, I believe, New York-based. He said he works in New York and Washington, D.C., where all the crazy people are, where most of the crazy people are. And he's talking about Trump derangement syndrome and how it's really become an identifiable mental illness, and that it's very widespread and very pervasive. And his piece in the Wall Street Journal, I think we shared it on social media on Friday. And he begins, "Is Trump derangement syndrome real? No serious mental health professional would render such a partisan and derogatory diagnosis. Yet, I've seen it in my own psychotherapy practice. Patients across the political spectrum have brought Donald Trump into therapy, not to discuss policy, but to process obsession, rage, and dread. Their distress is symptomatic, not ideological," meaning it's not political anymore. It's a mental issue. It's a certifiable mental issue. Clinically, the presentation aligns with anxiety and obsessive-compulsive disorders, persistent intrusive thoughts, emotional dysregulation, and impaired functioning. Trump derangement syndrome. Now, Jonathan Alpert did appear after the piece appeared in the Wall Street Journal. He did appear on the Fox News channel, where he was invited to explain what he wrote about in the pages of the Wall Street Journal.
It doesn't take long for me to pick up on this. People are obsessed with Trump. They're fixated. They're hyper-fixated on Trump. And they talk about some of the features of this disorder. They can't sleep. They feel traumatized by Mr. Trump. They feel restless. I had one patient who said she couldn't enjoy a vacation because anytime she saw Trump in the news or on her device, she felt triggered. So this is a profound pathology, and I would even go so far as to call it the defining pathology of our time.
The defining pathology of our time. It's meaning a mental behavior. I won't call it a disorder in that kind of the pathology is a mental behavior, as it is being described here. Isn't that amazing? The psychotherapist, and he is a New York-based guy, but New York and Washington. Oh, and I think he does Palm Beach too. Does he do Palm Beach? I'm trying to remember from his Wall Street Journal article. But let's go back to the interview. Psychotherapist Jonathan Alpert explaining that these people who have TDS can be sitting there minding their own business. And again, he talked about a woman who couldn't go on vacation, or if she did, she would still obsess over Trump. Anytime she saw a picture about a TV screen in the airport, she would freak out and become a TDS lunatic, because that's what they do. Psychotherapist Jonathan Alpert.
Trump is the trigger for many of these people. And to be that fixated on a figure, on a person, it's simply not healthy. And our country has strayed so far away from where we once were.
Yeah, from normal. Remember normal, like at the Chris Plant store on Al Gore's amazing internet, where we have Remember Normal T-shirts and Remember Normal coffee mugs and I think maybe hats too. But great stuff. So there, and he's describing it from the standpoint of a psychotherapist who deals with people and their psychological issues and traumas.
3/4 of my patients will present with a lot of these symptoms, and within probably 5 minutes of seeing me, their hatred for Trump comes up. So if you're that hyper-focused on Trump, that's a real issue, and it's worth being treated.
And it's worth being treated. So, he's not just pitching for other psychotherapists and for himself. He's genuinely and authentically concerned that we have a new mental illness loose in the United States of America, and its name is Trump derangement syndrome. And these people can't live their lives as you might normally live your life because of Trump derangement syndrome. They're ill, certifiably. Yes, sir. Psychotherapist and author, warning everyone about the horrors of Trump derangement syndrome, the obsessive compulsive conduct of those suffering from Trump derangement syndrome. Now, with that said, the Democrats, they've got a lot of issues. Let's go to number 13. Number 13. Michigan State Representative Jay DeBoyer at a hearing asked in the state of Michigan, he's in the state of Michigan, the Chief Deputy Superintendent, Dr. Sue Carnell, and Dr. Sue Carnell is one of the most senior officials in the Michigan, the State Department of Education. And she was asked, I guess, what qualifies as a trick question for Democrats now, and that is, how many genders are there? How many genders are there, right? So here is, again, a state representative, Jay DeBoyer, asking Michigan Chief Deputy Superintendent for Schools, Dr. like Dr. Jill Biden, Dr. Sue Carnell.
The reality is that there's lots of things in this proposed guidelines that do not line up with the beliefs of parents. They do not believe it is the role of the government, which, by the way, you are, to dictate these kinds of things. Things like you said, the science of gender. How many genders are there?
That's a question.
How many genders are there?
Different people have different beliefs on that.
Well, you can believe all you want, but science says there's 2.
Well, Hugan, different people have different. She's a senior Department of Education official in the state of Michigan. And, well, different people have different views on that. Well, all right. How many suns are there that we rotate around as planet Earth? And isn't that amazing? Now, we were talking about this morning, Michael and I, and Michael actually remembered back in 2019, Joe Biden was asked a question, how many genders are there? And it's real hard to see because he doesn't speak very loud. He was in an iron lung moments before. Asked how many genders are there in 2019. And listen to this. Listen carefully. Joe Biden responded, there are at least 3. There are at least 3. Heard him say, how many genders are there? A woman yells. There are at least 3, he says. And then she asked him, name them. And he fell down a flight of stairs or something. Let's go back to Michigan State Representative Jay DeBoyer and their like deputy chief education person.
So why is it that we believe we have to put this indoctrination into our you can believe whatever you want, and that's perfectly okay. And any parent can believe whatever they want, and that's perfectly okay. And any politician can believe whatever they want, and that's perfectly okay. But why are we putting it in the curriculum to educate our children about that? What's the reason behind that?
Speak up, lady. You're in charge of education.
The reason behind it is that we find that children who are gender diverse are being harassed, bullied in school.
Harassed, and the reason we pretend there are more than 2 genders is because gender diverse, which is not a word and not a category of human being, isn't that amazing? I had to tell you, Bill Maher, the multi-million-dollar Democrat Party propagandist on HBO, well, one of them, one of them. He's living in fear today. He's living in fear. And he's so terrified that he doesn't want to get on stage. I'll let him explain coming up. Now, it's a little bit peculiar. I've mentioned, talking about the Democrats, I've mentioned Jonestown twice, where more than 900 socialists from San Francisco and Oakland went to Guyana in South America, and they all committed suicide drinking the Kool-Aid and stuff. I mentioned it a couple of times today because they're all suicidal. And then Jasmine told me, because we had a great listener call in and say, you know, you're talking about Jonestown. Did you know that today is the anniversary of the Jonestown massacre? It was 47 years ago today, 1978. As I probably did my math wrong, but I think that's right, 47 years ago, 1978. Democrat congressman from California, Leo Ryan, was murdered when he went down there to check it out. Then they all lined up for their Kool-Aid, and they committed suicide, more than 900 dead. And today is the anniversary of that. Isn't that great? And Oregon Live, the Associated Press, has an article commemorating the anniversary of the Jonestown Massacre, and they want to note that it was also on this date in 1928, the first Mickey Mouse cartoon was released. So 2 important anniversaries, I guess. Do we have time for Bill Maher? Bill Maher can't do comedy, stand-up comedy anymore.
I got off the road this year I had been doing it for...
Really?
Yeah. I stopped doing it at the end of 20...
What made you stop?
A number of things. Just got tired of the travel, obviously. I miss doing it. Also, I feel like it was a great choice because I don't want to be out there in this country, in this political atmosphere. I could get shot by the left or the right.
Yeah, well, at this point...
it's a good time to not be out there.
Fear. Who has the right shot, exactly? Bill Maher. This is the Charlie Kirk reaction. This has to do with Charlie Kirk. Donald Trump was shot and almost shot a second time. Charlie Kirk was shot and killed. Steve Scalise was shot and wounded. You guys shot like 14 people in Chicago yesterday. All Democrats, as it turns out. But he won't. And happy Jonestown Day.